Hello everybody. I wanted to make a quick video regarding texting an avoidant partner in the beginning stages of dating. So I'm a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals and couples. I do work with a lot of individuals who are in a long-term relationship with an anxious partner or a fearful avoidant and they are a dismissive avoidant. Or where they are a fearful avoidant and they're with an anxious or dismissive. So I do work with a lot of insecure attachment couples, but I also work with a lot of individuals. And a lot of the times in individual sessions, we will also explore romantic relationship dynamics to which dating is brought up. So I wanted to bring up some patterns that I notice and how to connect with an avoidant, typically dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant, leaning more dismissive during texting, how often you should text them, and what are some boundaries you should set in place because avoidants have an interesting texting habit. So I noticed two different types of avoidance when it comes to texting. I noticed one where they are receptive and they're talkative, not necessarily talkative, but they communicate quickly and they typically are okay texting multiple times a day, but they're very dry, almost one or two sentences, not very deep, but they don't need a lot of space in between these conversations. They just are not very, they're not very vulnerable in text, but they're still very prompt. So that's one type. And this I feel is not, this is a avoidant that I tend to feel is a little bit more closer to healing or a little bit more, they may have more experience in knowing they're an avoidant, or maybe they're more comfortable with some of these dynamics. So that's one type. The second one, which I think is the one that gets a little bit more, I don't know if it's more common, but I do think is the one that a lot of people don't appreciate as much, is where these individuals need a lot more time in between moments of texting. So it's hard for them to text every day, but normally they're a little bit more talkative when they are texting. So they might text every couple of days, but they're much more open while actually having that communication. So they may be a little bit more vulnerable. They may be a bit more emotional than the first type I expressed, but they're less consistent. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of these two dynamics and what you as a partner of an avoidant or someone who's dating an avoidant can do to kind of take advantage of these dynamics so that you guys can, not advantage of the person, take advantage of the differences between you guys so that you guys can connect and learn more about each other and turn this into a more healthier relationship. So with the first type of avoidant, texting every day is okay and it should be expected. As soon as you start dating, it's important to set certain boundaries. Avoidance, especially this type of avoidant, likes when you are more direct. So they may be more comfortable because avoidance in the beginning, they can be a bit more emotional and flirtatious. So during that time, they may text you more frequently and you want to text them daily, right? You want to start seeing that they're initiating that and then you're also initiating that. But as soon as the initiation starts decreasing, this is something that sometimes can help. And I want to say this is not a one-size-fits-all approach, but it really may help with getting more closer to your partner and getting your needs met. It's mentioning that you would like if you guys could say good morning to each other every morning. That's it. Sometimes if you want to feel like a good night, but I feel like that might be a bit much for avoidance, especially in the beginning. But asking that you want a good morning text every morning for the first type of avoidant, a lot of them are okay with that. And just expressing that that's something you want. And that maybe you want them to do it or whatever your dynamic is, but somebody should say good morning and then the other person will respond. That's what's most important. Throughout the day, if you guys want to text, you can, but at least one contact a day so that this partner can be more comfortable knowing that there still needs to be some form of commitment no matter what. And if this partner is starting to, they may push back a little bit. Maybe that's something you can revisit at one point, but some of them may, as long as you're direct, they may fall into that and, kind of express that this is something they're okay doing. And so that's how you can kind of check that this partner at least has some ability to have some growth. And you don't want to wait too long because then you'll get too caught into it. So that's the first type of avoidant. And I did mention this before in my other texting videos, kind of how you can communicate. And then the other type of avoidant is the one where they are more expressive, but they're less likely to communicate every day. And for this type of avoidant, it's important that you do give them more time. And when they're being expressive, it's important that you can give them some reassurance that you appreciate that. And then when you guys get closer, when rapport is being built, you could ask if they're okay and more comfortable texting daily. or just texting you every now and then with a little bit more details of what they're doing throughout their day, so that you can bridge that gap of the differences between the texting dynamics. Because as I've mentioned many times before, avoidants are an insecure attachment, so they're not healthy either. So we can't let them completely run the show and call the shots. They need to meet you in the middle, right? And often if you're the partner, you might not be secure either. So you both need to start learning to heal. And the only way to do that is to push each other a little bit out of your comfort zone. So just push a little bit, try a little bit of prompting and see if the avoidant is okay with that. And if not, pull back a little bit and realize, okay, this is something that we can try later on. But you need to at least meet in the middle, have some sort of expectation. So for the first type of avoidant, texting daily is usually okay. It might not be as deep. And then at one point you can kind of express you want a good morning text every day, even throughout the relationship. I've had couples, they started this way. They're still together for 3-4 years because avoidants don't really like to move in right away, but they're still texting, right? So they're in a relationship, just not moved in together. And they still do the good morning text. It works really well for them. Other avoidants, the second type I mentioned, they might not be so receptive to that, but they will be more receptive if you say, can you just tell me a little bit about what you're doing throughout the day or throughout the week when it's happening, just because I like that connection. They may be more receptive to that. So go ahead and give that a try so you can kind of bridge the gap when dating an avoidant regarding texting, okay? I hope this video made a lot of sense. I didn't want to make a too long one, but I also wanted to put a little details of the different types of avoidance I see. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.